Valley City is such a cool spot in the greater Cleveland area because you're going to get those small town vibes, but it's going to be a lot more upscale feeling when you drive around, but it's also more rural, so you're going to have a lot of open space if you move here. So realistically, you're getting the best of a bunch of different worlds if you were deciding to move over this way. The other cool part about it is it's all within a 15-minute drive to some of the bigger areas like Strongsville and Brunswick to get all of your shopping done. So if you're thinking about moving this way, I don't think you can go wrong. Now, my name's Sam Oler and I'm a realtor in the greater Cleveland area, so if you're starting to think about moving over this way, feel free to reach out to me. I help a ton of different people relocate here every year, so depending on what your timeline is looking like, I'm gonna have different programs that are gonna make your life a lot easier. You can find all my contact info down in the description, but I wanna jump back into today's topic, which is gonna be Valley City, Ohio. Now, Valley City is a small community located southwest of Cleveland, Ohio, and to get downtown from here, it's going to take you about 40 minutes or so. But the community is located in Liverpool Township, and that is in Medina County, Ohio. And it is one of the oldest permanently settled townships in Medina County, which is actually pretty neat. Liverpool Township, along with Litchfield and York Townships, were put together in 1816. And as those steadily grew over time, the first schoolhouse was built in 1885, and that now sits on School Street in Valley City. And the name for that school was Frank's Corner School. And by 1895, Cleveland steelmakers needed a direct rail line bringing huge amounts of coal in from West Virginia and southeastern Ohio. So the Cleveland, Lorain, and Wheeling Railroad Company obliged and connected from an existing line through Leicester that already fed coal to Lorain. So this actually ran through Valley City and made it a little bit easier for transportation to happen. Now you can see some remnants of the rail house throughout Valley City, and it's a cool historical spot to stop at if you're in the area. But as time went on, Valley City grew into what it is today, and over that way you can find houses around the $265,000 mark. If you're driving through this area, you're probably going to notice that there are a lot more new builds going up, and you're not going to be able to get those ones that cheap. But something to remember is that a lot of this is developing farmland, so the properties that you're going to get here are going to be a lot bigger. You're going to be at an acre plus in most cases, unless you're really close or in downtown, where you're probably going to have a quarter acre to a half an acre, which is still a decent bit of land. But the houses that you're going to get here in the more average price point, they're probably going to be extremely old. A lot of them are going to be a little bit outdated, and if you go any lower than that price point, you're probably going to get something that's in disrepair or is going to need some extensive renovations done to it. So if you're thinking about moving this way, you're probably going to be above that $300,000 mark, and if you want something that is a new build, you're probably going to be above the $500,000 mark. Now, as far as some of the older houses here, I think they're extremely fun to walk through, just due to the fact that a lot of them are still going to have like logs as the structure for the home. At the time these houses were built in the 1800s, they weren't milling lumber like we were today, so they had to do all of this stuff by hand. And just walking through, seeing how things were done back then is just really interesting to see. I've sold some really old houses in this area, and the history inside of them is just absolutely incredible. Now, with the newer homes that are getting built here, you're going to notice that a lot of them are very large in size. You've got some mansions that are getting built, and a lot of the new build developments that are going up are going to be around 3,000 or more square feet. So if you're starting to come over this way, it's perfect for a larger family to get into. I'd say it's pretty comparable to Columbia Station if you've done any research into that area, which I've got a whole nother video about. And if you want to buy some land and build your own home on it, you have the ability to do so, with land running you about 130 grand for a 3 to 4 acre lot. So you're gonna have plenty of space to build whatever you could possibly dream up on this property. In order to get into Valley City, it's not incredibly competitive. Most of the houses that are more average are sitting on the market for about 30 days or so. And when they do sell, they're going slightly below list price. If you do get something that has been freshly renovated or the new builds, they go pretty quickly, where you're seeing them go under contract within 8 days or so, and that's still right around list price. You're probably not going to have to go too far above if you're in a bidding war, depending on what you're bidding on. Most people who are relocating here are coming from the greater Cleveland area, but outside of Ohio, you're seeing people relocating from New York, West Virginia, and California. And unless you live in downtown Valley City, this area is not walkable at all. Let's face it, it's more rural. There's not going to be a lot of sidewalks unless you're in a development. So realistically, you're not going to be walking or riding your bike to a convenience store or getting ice cream or coffee or whatever it may be. So that's just something to think about if you are considering coming over this way. As far as climate issues that we have here, there really aren't any. It doesn't get overly hot. We don't have any hurricanes. We don't have any fires. In the 30 years that I've lived in the greater Cleveland area, there's only been one tornado. So realistically, I don't think that's a huge worry either. The worst thing you're gonna have to worry about living here is going to be the snow that we get and just being safe while you're driving on the roads, just due to the fact that it gets really cold here during the winter and the ice will stick around if it's not treated properly. And if it's too cold, which it does get every once in a while throughout the winter, the salt doesn't break down the ice. So if you're living here, just be cautious when you're driving in the snow. The other thing that you could potentially worry about is tree limbs, which is prevalent everywhere in the greater Cleveland area, just due to the fact that we have a lot of metro parks here and a lot of dense wooded areas. But as long as you're keeping up with trimming the dead branches, you're gonna be okay. Since Valley City is so small, it is coupled in with Medina schools, so you are gonna have Buckeye High School here, which is a great option for people to go to. It's gonna do a fantastic job at getting your kid ready for post-high school life, whether it be college or just going straight into work. As far as ranking goes for Buckeye High School, it's ranked number 116 by US News in Ohio. So that's not just this Cleveland area, it's all of Ohio. And the kids are gonna have a lot besides the academics to choose from. During the fall, they're gonna have access to different sports like soccer, football, cross country, golf, and volleyball. During the winter time, they're gonna have things like basketball, swimming, bowling, gymnastics, and wrestling. Come spring, they're gonna have baseball, softball, and track to choose from. And then if they wanna jump into any extracurriculars, they're gonna have different things like band, choir, fall play, spring musical, marching band, show choir, art club, bowling, esports, robotics. There's just a bunch of different things to choose from. And I think that's extremely important for schools to offer, is just extracurricular activities for kids to be doing something besides just sitting at home after school and doing nothing. So if you're sending someone to the school, I think they're gonna have a lot of opportunities presented to them. Now, within a drivable radius around Valley City, there are about 30,000 jobs available in the market. And all of these jobs pays are going to vary depending on what your experience level is. But the majority of people who live in Valley City are going to commute outside of Valley City to go to their job. There are businesses located in Valley City, but it's so small that whatever your expertise is probably not gonna line up with what they have to offer. It's still a fantastic place to live. Now, the average household income in Valley City is right around $111,000. Honestly, I think that's gonna slowly go up over time just due to the fact that the houses that are being built here are just massive, so it's going to bring in people who are making a lot more money just because those houses are going to cost more. Most of the people that are living here are working some sort of white collar job, and as far as the education goes, it's pretty evenly split among people who finished high school and went straight into work, people with bachelor's degrees, and people with higher education than that. Now, when I'm in the Valley City area, I pretty much always stop at Samoski's. I really like this restaurant. It's a pizzeria and they've got some great pizza and sandwiches, but I'm a sucker for a meatball sub, so I pretty much always get that when I show up there. And they also have a counter up front that is full of desserts to choose from. So if you want to grab something on your way out, you have the ability to do so, or you could eat it in the restaurant. There's a few other restaurants that you can choose from in the area. You've got Gandalf's Pub and Knott's Family Diner. Then there's an ice cream store and a coffee shop that you can go to as well. As far as grocery and retail shopping goes in the area, there's not going to be a ton of grocery here, but there are a few different boutiques that you can go check out. Our friend runs a store called The Wandering Goose, and there are some pretty cool things to choose from there. She brings in other local products for people to choose from, and there's just a lot of really fun knickknacks on top of that. So definitely go check that out if you're in the area. Now, as far as grocery shopping goes in Valley City, there's not a lot to choose from. You're probably going to have to go to Strongsville or Brunswick to get your grocery shopping done, and that's not realistically a horrible drive. It's about 15 minutes to get to either of those locations. In between the two, they're going to have literally everything you could possibly need. Strongsville is going to have a lot more retail shopping since they have the mall. They've got your Meijer, your Target, Giant Eagle. Brunswick's got the same stores, including Meijer and Aldi as well. So wherever you go, you're gonna be fine. Now, the downtown area in Valley City is super cute. These buildings are old and have a ton of character to them. They're all local businesses down there. It's a great spot to go and support your local businesses. But there are a bunch of activities that Valley City offers to its residents and the surrounding cities. Christmas in the Valley is one of their bigger events, and I go to it every year. They shut down the main road, bring in a bunch of vendors, open up all the shops, and everyone gets together just so they can celebrate the holidays and get in that festive mood for Christmas coming up. Another thing that Valley City is known for is their annual frog jump. And this one sounds kind of weird, and it sounded weird to me as well. But what they do is every single year they have a contest to see who can get their frog to jump the farthest. And it is actually really exciting because every year they bring in hundreds of frogs, which means there's hundreds of contestants, making it super exciting. But they have frogs that you can rent that they have caught from the local area, or you can catch your own. You can get the bullfrogs from your local pond or your own. Then you take your frog to the event and register it, and whoever can get their frog to jump the furthest in a certain amount of time wins the prize, and it's a really big to-do for the community. Once the events are over, the frogs are released back to where they were found, so that way they can keep the population healthy and growing, and it's just all around a great time. On top of these two events, there are a bunch of different ones that Valley City puts on throughout the year, so if you want some more information about that, you can go to their website and check it out. But if you're starting to think about moving over this way, I hope this video gave you some pretty valuable insights as far as what to expect if you were moving over here. Now, I think Valley City is such a cool area, and it's one of those that I would consider moving to in the future as well. But with all that being said, I'm gonna leave the video there. If you liked it, definitely go ahead and subscribe and click the like button while you're down there. That subscribe is gonna keep you up to date with everything that I have going on in the greater Cleveland area as far as real estate and just events. But if you made it this far into the video, I appreciate you watching. We'll catch you in the next one.